guys. Welcome to the Financial Griot. Once again, thank you for tuning in and subscribing. My name is Alainta, and I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Lawrence Delva-Gonzalez, aka the neighborhood finance guy. Looks like it's you and I. Our other co-host is not here at the moment, lovely Mardellis, but we're going to keep it moving. So here at TFG, we love to discuss money and talk about different aspects of just building wealth, being the best person you can possibly be. So we're here today. What's going on, Mr. Delva-Gonzalez? I'm not even sure to call you Gonzalez or Delva-Gonzalez.
Yeah, it's getting kind of weird, even for me. Yeah. Sometimes like I'm Lawrence Gonzalez, and I'm Delva-Gonzalez. Yeah, this is what happens. This is what happens when you hyphenate your names. And I have a tremendous respect for women that ended up hyphenating their names, just out of customs or whatever it is, because it's a lot, man. Because you got to change your name, you got to go to Social Security, change that name. You got to go to your banks. You got to go to your job. You got to it's a lot to change.
And plus we have your children. We do more changing than the man itself, the guy.
Yeah.
And it just like,
I mean, just because you had kids, you do more changes? Like
we're placing our life on the line at that point. Ooh, yeah, stay silent. What I'm saying,
I'm just sitting there like,
what I'm saying is just as though you mentioned it, because I have friends who were married too, my best friend, my sister, and when they changed their last name as well, it's the same system and process. The Social Security, if you have passport, and that could be a pain because passports take a while to get, and you have to show proof of your marriage, and everything has to be changed, and even your bank accounts, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and even the whole beneficiary thing. It's not like your other name kind of becomes nothing, right? Because you could still kind of I guess it's why they always say, what's your alternate name or whatever? What was your name before on some of those documents? Maiden name or something. Yeah. So it still exists. It's just a little bit confusing, especially right now. And I haven't really done a lot of the conversions just yet, because even though my wife made sure that we changed her name back in like January or February last year, because she's a little bit more like, gets stuff done as soon as possible. Right. I've been kind of holding off because I had to talk to my HR, and I had to do it during open season, and it's actually going to start in November. So yeah, that's going to be weird.
But you mentioned that you guys going to be traveling next year, so you have to change your passport, or you going to wait it out?
I'm gonna have to wait something out. I'm not gonna do everything at once. This is kind of ridiculous.
I don't want to lose out on the stamps I accumulate throughout the years. I'm being selfish right now.
Yeah, I don't think you have to. I think there's some people that do it like everything changed at one time. Let's say if you had to get it updated, right? Mm-hmm. So why not change at that point? But if you already kind of like,
I no longer live there anymore. I got it. I got my adult passport when I was in college, so a lot of things have to be updated.
Yeah, so even thinking about, you got your passport, and then it's your driver's license. It's a lot of little things that have to change.
Not Social Security number. The Social Security card, does that
change? It changed. It had to change. That's the first thing. In order for you to process a name change, that's the first thing that has to go.
Now I see why people pay out like third parties. It's a lot.
I would even say like I could understand why people don't want to change their name at all. Like if you're like the spouse and you're like, hey, I want to.
I met some women that haven't done so.
I'm like, they've been married for years though. Yeah, because as long as the kid has the new name, it is what it is. But of course,
we have your kids, we have to change the name too. Oh my gosh!
But what do you mean? The kid get the name.
We gotta do everything amongst the men, right? Just bend our life, change our life for them guys.
Hey. Men are the prize. Men are the prize.
But you don't want to hold accountability. But what I was going to
say. It's like this conversation went completely left. We are starting off somewhere else. Like
I'm just bringing some hardcore heat. And at this point, I mean, I seen your we're going to go a little bit, not left, but somewhat centered. I seen your IG posts. And I posted in our group, we may possibly need a PR, messing with LG here.
What? Sir, seriously? Come on.
Sir, what we're not going to do is tell these women.
It's not me. No, it's not.
All right, this is context for our listeners. For our listeners. I can't believe you posted this. I'm like, what is going on with Lawrence this morning? He posts on the Neighborhood Finance Guy, which is his brand on, across all social media platforms and his website. So his latest post on IG is no guy has all five, which is number 1, a debit card. Number 2, good mental health. Number 3, deodorant. Number 4, 6+ inches. And I'm not going to go in detail. We should know what that is. And number 5, a home. And
Well,
I posted in our
damn.
group, we need a PR. Lawrence, what we not about to do.
Wait. Let me give it a little bit more context. For one, I didn't create that post. I didn't create
you
the
just
post.
Shared it?
I just shared the post. Just sharing the post. Because you know why?
What was that, at 7 o'clock this morning? What?
Social media is about trying to generate conversation, try to bring people into your, into your space, and then you kind of go into some details. But in truth, it is not me that created that post. I literally just shared it. And a lot of times too, because I don't have my phone no more, I schedule all these things out for weeks, sometimes months on end. So they just populate at some point.
Right.
And hopefully it generates conversation. Maybe it goes somewhere from there, and it is what it is. But it's not me that created that post. So it's not about
sharing
the toxicness
of it all, right?
This is social media. You gotta be out there. You gotta, I guess, strike a chord with some people, because all the important stuff I post get like 2 likes, like straight up. They're like, they look at me, they're like, he said some truth, boo. Like, you get your 5 likes, walk away. Like,
so in context, since you're scheduling these posts, you don't know, like, what were you thinking at that moment? Like, this thing interesting. Good conversation starter. Let's share.
No, I thought it was a pretty good. I thought it was interesting. I was like, why would somebody? No, I was like, why would somebody even like? What would a woman? It's a woman that like did this. Why would a woman create this? Like, so I'm like, this is rank and wrong. I get it. At one point, even somebody commented about the whole. I said it about the bank account per se, or debit card. Yeah. Maybe there's a lot of people that are unbanked or unbankable, which is an actual thing. These are actual terms. People that literally cannot go into a bank and actually get a they can't get an account. Why? Because their credit's completely shot. They don't have a long-term stability job. They don't, majority of the time they go to the bank anyways. If they have it in their bank account, it ends up being, like you have a certain minimum fee that you need to have in the account before you get hit with, minimum before you get hit with a fee. So because of that, a lot of people went away from using traditional banking scenarios. So I could see why some people might not have a debit card, which is still wild. It is wild.
I think I'll push back and say that I think most people have debit cards. They just don't have the traditional big banks that we are accustomed to. As you know, there's a lot of online banking that's going on right now where it's not traditional brick and mortars locations and such, or Chase or Bank of America, whatnot. You can only just show a social security card, show proof you are who you are at that point. And if you have money coming in, no matter where it's coming from, then most times you can waive those fees that they do have. So I don't think it's
we do. Yeah, I guess for ourselves, for the place we are in society, the class that we position ourselves in, the education we have, we even know about Chime, the whole bank, a little bit early and everything like that. All of that is available for sure, but there is still research and data to actually prove there's a lot of people that really don't have bank accounts and they literally can't get on. That's why they call them unbankable. A lot of the reason that we have like the check cashing store stuff, like the proliferation of that in every block in the hoods in every poor neighborhood. Why? It exists because of the unbanked. It exists as the last medium for them to actually do something. So that's why I always kind of like, one, I think they're scammy for sure. And the government thinks so too, but they can't really do anything about it because they're the only people provide the people for them that don't have anything. Right. Yeah.
I could see that. Absolutely. I could see that. But when we're mentioning about the homeland, are we attacking men? What are we doing? What is this post?
I said what in the morning? I said what in the Kevin Samuels with this thing. But obviously, it gets a lot of like people talking. It has 37 likes so far, I guess, whatever that is.
Deodorant, really? Deodorant.
And then you have like 752 impressions. So people are seeing it, people are sharing it or sending it to their other friends.
Yes.
It's funny. It's weird. It's really weird. Like the stuff that puts some real insight into things that could really change people's lives. And I post that out there. They don't get these type of like, transactions. Literally, you can look through it. You be like, and that's why I don't delete any of my posts, because I think they're all really good and essential overall. I'm like, yo, if nobody likes it, nobody likes it. But it doesn't mean that it's not good content. A lot of people like the most scammy stuff, the most treacherous things, the weirdest things out there in the world people like. But in truth, the good stuff, we don't really share it. So sometimes I do kind of go, I delve into the ratchet. Like into the stream a little bit, so hopefully I bring more people into the fold, into the conversation.
Oh, it definitely got some conversation stirring this morning. I'm working out. I think I was heading to the gym, or I was already at the gym, and I just looked down. I'm just like, what did I say? Like, you don't have deodorant? Men not gonna have deodorant.
I'm like, who hurt you?
What's going on today, Lawrence? You know what?
Hey, and you know, I guess in keeping with the men are trash, at some point you might hear this episode. But
oh my God, you guys,
yeah. You know what? For as much viciousness that's in this post, there's a lot of truth in it. Because I know a lot of guys growing up, you know, through college and stuff like that, when I guess when you're by your home, you kind of live a certain way, and then you go to college and you interact with such a broad stream of other people in the Black sphere, right? And then you run into their house, you're like, hey, I'm going to use the restroom. I'm like, why is your bathroom brown? Like literally, I'm like, this is supposed to be a white bathroom. Like the color scheme is just a plain. I'm like, I literally couldn't use the restroom. Like it's one of those things you walk in, it's like, this looks like a gas station. The floor is sticky. It is brown all over. You can't touch you can't even wash your hand. Just in case you wanted to wash your hand, you might catch something. I'm like, who's not cleaning this?
I'll be honest with you guys. Speaking of that, and it's so funny, good segue, because I broke up with someone because of that in college. It was just I won't say it's a phobia. Maybe it's some kind of, it's not a phobia, but I'm the type where if I'm doing something and the bathroom door is open, like from my like corner of my eye or something like that, and I can see it, I don't want to see the toilet for some reason. I don't know why. I just have to close the door. Eventually over time, I got over it, because you know my bathroom now is in the master bedroom, so I got over it. But if I do see it, it has to be clean. And this guy, freaking toilet was brown, that circled, all that stuff that you're talking about right now.
Grime. I was like straight up.
I gave him the lamest excuse why I don't want to talk to him again, but it was something lame. I was like 19, 20, so I kind of put it on my immaturity, whatever. But to this day, he has no idea why we broke up. Like that was disgusting. Like it was to the point where I took a shower in my socks. It was that nasty. I mean, I had to take a shower. I had to go to work. So I was just like, it was so disgusting.
It was really that bad. Disgusting. And I've seen it. I've seen these other guys I know of. Their home was a complete train wreck. Like I'm talking like, why are college, 2 or 3 college? Why are 2 or 3 couches in here on top of each other? Pizza on the ground that might have been there for the last like a week. I don't want to say 2 days. It looked like it's been there for a bit. I'm looking at them like, so is anybody gonna pick this up at some point? Trash, when you can smell the trash, you're like, come on guys, somebody has to clean. Dishes just hanging around, because I think it was like this weird attrition. It's attrition, like who's gonna actually clean it first, who's gonna break first. So
nobody want to initiate.
Nobody want to do it. It was just terrible. I'm not saying I'm like the cleaner, holier than thou. I'm just like, decency, man, you got to clean up after yourself. But it's not just the guys, because I actually ran into a few women that was straight up sour, just dirty. I dated one. Oh my God. Like her room, sometimes you put some clothes, your clean clothes on top of the bed, and maybe you fold them, at a certain time. Right. When I'm talking about clothes, was all over the ground, everywhere, to the point where when I stopped dating her, I had to come back for my stuff or something like that. And I swear to you, the bathroom had stuff. Like it has a full-on suit. I'm like, why is the suit hanging on the bottom counter of the bathroom stall next to the toilet? It made no sense to me. Everything is junky. Anything goes. I'm like, these people are dirty. I just can't do it.
One last other story. Someone I dated in high school for a bit, And I guess his parent just let him do whatever. I don't know. But it was a custom where he eats in his room a lot, right? And from here and there, I seen a cockroach. Like I didn't know how to act, so like whatever. But it was one time when I went to go visit him, hang out with him, and he was under the covers. You know, we're just chilling watching TV or something, and I seen like some candy or whatever. I didn't pay any attention, but under the covers, something was biting me. I'm like, damn, do you have the window up or something? Like it's mosquitoes. This is South Florida. Something biting me, right? Check this out. Something biting me. And you know, it was dark in there. We were just hanging out, just cuddling, just watching TV. And something told me, like, Alainta, get up. So I got up and I cut on the lights and I pulled the covers, right? So by our feet, it was some kind of chocolate, some kind of food there, tons of ants. Tons of ants just like all over the sheet.
Just wrecking.
And I'm just like, you know, I was there for like 10 minutes and I start realizing I'm getting bitten up by ants. I'm just like, you need to clean this up. Like I was getting pissed off and I just left. I'm like, this is disgusting. Of course, when I came back, he cleaned the entire room up really well, but that didn't say the same. But that's disgusting, man. Like,
yeah, there's some, like, yet again, I'm not gonna sit there and shame people like I don't eat in my room or whatever, because I eat in my room. But there's a certain thing about, let's say, like I knew this guy, right? He ate in his room, and that's fine. Do you, man? You're a grown ass man. Like, live your life. But then I think we were trying to, clean before we had to kind of like move to another unit or something like that. And we were trying to help him out because he was just not getting, get it done fast enough. So we're coming through the room, and lo and behold, on the bottom of his bed, it was just nothing but like candy wrappers, like straight up. Like, I'm like, this is entire ecosystem of just like, why would you hide this here? You're like, we're not your parents. like you can't toss this in the trash at some point, dog. Like before it became like his own environment, dog. Like it's Willy Wonka up in here, dog. Like what's going on? It made no sense.
There's a difference. Because I'm a huge like advocate. Like I told my sister before she moved in, like I just want two things: pay me on time and keep my house clean. Right? There's a huge difference between filth and messiness. Like we all have busy lives. I'm in and out the house half of the time, or I'm doing something, whatever. Messiness, like right now, my room is a mess. I have to do some laundry, right? But filth, I will not do like that. Honestly, as you guys know, that is a deal breaker. I will break up with you for that because there's no mending filth, right? Like if that's something you are accustomed to, especially
that's who you are.
Age,
yeah, that's who you are.
Messiness, like, here and there, it's like things are not organized or kept. I get it. Like we all doing something. I get it. But that filth,
yeah,
that's a no. I think part of no.
Let me try to turn this around to a financial conversation, right? Because we got to turn, all the stories got to end up being financially based or sound. And I think a lot of those people, and I think as part of the equation, like you really can't be a homeowner at that point because a home itself has to be something you maintain for extended period of time, all the time. It's not, you can't just kind of slack off for a month, 2 months and just kind of let this thing pile on because nobody's going to clean up after you, especially if you're not renting anymore or you're not turning over a unit here and there, especially in college days or whatever. At the end of the day, like nobody's going to do that level of cleaning for you. And I think a lot of people in their a lot of millennials, maybe even some Gen Xers and definitely some digitals are investing in maid cleaning services. So they're doing that now. They're paying people to come clean their home for themselves. The group that is the most indebted, the group that's spending way too much and not saving enough, are taking away any functionality in how they live, which is very troubling. Because you're not just filthy anymore, you're just worthless. Like in a sense, like you can't clean up after yourself.
That's
that was a little cold.
Let's keep it PC
let's scale it back. Let's scale it back. It got way too hardcore. Yeesh. Hey, I used to be in the Marine Corps, man. Like it's just to go a little extreme. But ultimately, you're taking away a lot of internal processes. Like cooking, people don't really, a lot of the younger people don't try to cook anymore. We don't have a lot of recipes. We ain't doing that. We rather just buy the food, order the food and spend more money on that. So everything that we're doing and moving away from, the cleaning, the cooking, the taking care of ourselves, all of that is going to cost us in the long run because that's the lifestyle in which other people, millennia of like human beings have done for years in order to maintain themselves, but we're going away from it, and then we're wondering why we're broke.
You can't delay it too, because when you're procrastinating, delaying thing, it costs you. So I would say, and then I think it was because of this toilet issue I had is, that toilet flapper, when you flush, right? So I had an issue with that, and I think I let it on for like 4 or 5 days. I was just busy. I didn't feel like stopping at Home Depot to get all the stuff I needed. So by that Saturday or Sunday, almost less than a week later, I decided, I turn off all the water. My brother kind of instructed me. I looked up a YouTube video. I did everything, right? And it started working accordingly. So maybe a day or two ago, I received my water bill. So the water bill, the water bill was typically I paid no less than 115, whatever. And this is including my sister and my two other nieces who were here. It was actually $259. So that was over a month plus of water that was used. So I'm talking to them and I'm asking, what's going on? They said, yeah, we came out and we re-expect to make sure it's not like one of those leakage or if it's still running. Everything was fine. So when I asked her, do you think it's because of the toilet flapper? I just recently got it resolved. She said possibly it could be that if anything else hasn't changed. And I'm thinking, due to my procrastination and not really hitting something on target, I'm paying the extra $159, right? On top of my water bill. You can't, like, as a homeowner, you can't let things just kind of slide. I can't call anyone to maintenance guy or whoever to come fix it or schedule it, right? I have to handle all these things myself. And with that was a huge lesson learned. Do not procrastinate. When something needs to get done, especially when it comes to water, electricity, and all that good stuff, get it done immediately. It will cost you. Now I'm paying over, additional $159 on top of my bill. That's something I did not budget for. I always budget my water bill to be exactly just that. Maybe $10 or $20 extra, not $159, right? So that was a huge lesson learned on my end. But the other part is I learned how to, change a toilet flapper.
Yeah, that's one of the first initial lessons as a homeowner. You kind of like change the toilet flapper because if the toilet want to go on the fritz. So as a homeowner, yeah, there are costs, but part of it is are mitigated because you tend to learn more, and you learn by doing. And a lot of when I'm thinking about even like the older generation, the reason they stayed more fit, right? Even though they were eating, like volumes. Remember, like the Haitian mountain of rice, the mountain of the volcano of rice that we had on the plate. Crazy. The reason that they stayed this way because they kept a regular routine. Meaning that they were cleaning, and it's not just the cleaning aspect, it's the movement that you're incorporating.
Moving around.
Yeah, you're doing this, you're doing that. It's the movement that you're doing that's keeping your body healthier. Yeah. So, when we take away some of these functionalities of being a human, you end up with the movie like WALL-E. I don't even remember the WALL-E movie.
What's that?
Yeah. WALL-E is like the
robot.
I think it was a robot movie with Pixar. It was a Pixar movie.
Yeah, I know this one that we're on some kind of Mars planet or something.
Yeah, they were basically traveling through space. Like it was like human beings had robots do everything, and eventually, as robots did anything, they just continued to gain weight while they were watching TV, which is actually very messed up and very funny because they're showing us what's happening today. That a lot of people spend majority of their times consuming just media all over, but they'd rather quote unquote pay other people to do these the work. Either it being change the tires. Nobody say that you got to be a professional, but dang, if you're stuck in the middle of nowhere, I hope that you got a spare in the back. Mm-hmm. Like I just hope that you know that because a lot of people don't. They don't know what's going on.
I hope you have AAA. I've been on AAA the last 5-6 years, so make sure you have AAA.
I'm just saying. What if you run out of your cell phone run out of battery?
Yeah, you're right.
It just something just randomly happened. Like for you not to know that there's a spare in the back of your car, it's a problem. Yeah. Like a lot of people just don't know how anything works anymore.
We're outsourcing a lot of basic functionalities of things that we should be doing for ourselves. Now, granted, I will say if you are a busy person, you're constantly on the move, then some things need to be outsourced. Like our co-host Lovely, who is busy building her empire, right? Her tech empire. And it's something she has to outsource because she just don't have the time to do so. But if you do have the time, like me, I had to figure out where is the water meter located. I'm like, bro, where is it located?
Simple question. You're like, I remember that. I don't remember none of this.
And then when the neighbor across the street, he's so nice. He showed me where it's located. I'm like, oh, I remember this. Like, going back to my childhood, it's located on the floor, on the ground. But I'm walking past it, but I just never kind of put two and two together, right? But yeah, it's slowly showing me that the basic things I do know, I'm forgetting. Right. And I'm not utilizing. It's like not necessarily a memory, but a muscle. Like we work out, we have to use those smaller muscles to kind of keep it going, keep the body functioning at its optimal level. And those are memories and skills we know we have, and inherently we know we have. My mom is pushing 70. Let me tell you, this lady is never home. Like, she's always out.
She took your name. Hardly ever home.
She's never home.
She created that. She created that term. You stole it.
And my mom has a big yard, right? She has a big yard, and I think she used to pay someone to come out there, but now no, she just go to Home Depot, whatever she needs to go, get a little gas and get her little lawnmower and pushing out there. She put all the clothes on, make sure the mosquitoes and the heat doesn't get to her, whatnot, and she do it. And I remember one time when we were talking about retirement and all that good stuff, what she want to do, what's her plans. She said that she don't want to stop working. She said she's afraid to stop working because she thinks she'll die. So in essence, it's like she is afraid to stop moving, having purpose, right? So I take that and I look at my life of how simple things I know I can do, but I'm always looking at you too. Okay, how can I outsource it? It looks difficult, but it's very simple. And I have to think about too, there's airplanes in the sky. If they can figure that out, I can figure whatever, I can do. I can figure out anything, any functionality in my home. And I'm just happy. And shout out to my brother. Like, I love my older brother. Shout out to older brothers in general.
Yeah, right? You had to pick just one of them, huh?
Like, yeah, I have four, but shout out to
the older one. Like, specifically.
I have four other
judgment on the other ones.
But shout out to the one that lived near me. Like, he's a homeowner, multiple homes actually. This is second home with his wife, but just give me all the ropes. Just honestly give me all the ropes. You're not going to have all the answers, but there's people that are in your circle or outside of your circle that will be able to help you. Like, reach out to them, because half the time I'm lost. I have no idea, but I'm so open to learning. So that's one of the best advantages of being a homeowner. Like, I am learning. I was over here being, handy dandy over here. I was really proud of myself.
You probably had a pink tool set, don't you? Shame.
I should get one. That'd be super cute. I should get one.
The ladies always have one.
It'll be green, since I love green, but I should get one. That'd be super cute.
I used to show up to like some of my homegirls, like back in the day, like college or even earlier in my professional years, and they're like, "Hey, I need to build something." I show up to their crib and I look for their tools, and their tools ended up being all pink. I'm like, man, this entire and she don't even know where it is. She's kind of like, they typically kind of look around and look a little flustered, and eventually they find the box. It's always like a weird, like either cyan or very pink box. And it's all the tools are the same color shade. I'm like, wow, I actually created this. And ladies buy it and they stash it somewhere and they forget about it.
I have tools here, and that's like just over the years of being in different apartments and stuff like that. I just kept them. But that's a really good idea. I need to have like actual tool set or something to learn all these things, because it's actually a renovation idea I have for downstairs half bath. I want to put like a sink. I want to change out the sink, but this sink has cabinets, so you can store things underneath it. I got some ideas. So.
You got some ideas, okay? You got that money, you got that bread, but
nah.
It's like you're right about everything that you just said is 100% on point. It's the fact that we always have to strive to keep learning as much as possible. There is no limit to what that is. When people ask me questions online, it's like, hey, how do you know this? I Google and I search and I keep searching. And is there one specific book that? No, that's not how learning is. You are functionally opening yourself up to just constant knowledge and pulling it together, because there's not just one source. There's too many years of human history to just kind of rely on just one book and call it what it is. That's not how life functions, in my opinion. And on top of that, there's the idea that you're 100% correct. If you make more money, then or your time is basically lopsided. So for, let's say if you're making $200 an hour and you can outsource a job for $50 an hour, then it's probably better for you to outsource that job, the $50 job, because it makes a lot more sense. So if Lovely, for example, was, working on contracts at $100,000, yeah, having a person comes through and clean a house, that's no problem at all. That's just a functionality of how you even process the world. But what we're trying to get at here is, like, you don't want to get to the point where you forget all the things in the world that makes it that makes sense. I remember one couple, and that story still sticks with me today. They sued the grocery store because they found bones in their chicken. I want that to set with you. They sued the grocery store because they found bones in their chicken.
Was it okay?
Let me. I wanted to kind of set with you.
Was it
when they were cooking the chicken, right? And they however they cooked it, we can only hope that they cooked it all the way through and it wasn't raw, or maybe they put it in the air fryer, whatever it is. Right. When they're eating the chicken, they never knew that chicken had bones inside of it.
That's on me.
They either always ate boneless, maybe, or they might have always ate nuggets per se, right? But they never really ate chicken with bones in it. you turn to the side. You had to understand life, because people really, it'd be that bad. It'd be that bad because people don't know where food comes from anymore. Like you ask somebody, hey, you ask a kid now, hey, where you get your bananas from? The grocery store. But then I'm not quite sure they understand that banana had to get transported by a truck. That truck had to come, go get some shipments from a yard. The yard had, had to get the ship had to dock there. The ship had to come from somewhere. The goods had to come from overseas. They have no structural understanding of how the world truly functions in and around themselves. And I guess that's why we have people now that, ladies saying that guys don't have all five: debit card, good mental health, deodorant, 6-inch in a home. Because at the end of the day, a lot of people don't have even common sense anymore to put all the basics things together. Woo. Hey, I had to do a Toastmaster. I had to bring it around.
Bring it all around together.
Like I had to pull it together. Like it wasn't just a random conversation. You guys, listen to us. Like you actually learned something.
I'm just like, where is Lawrence getting this from?
Like, where is this getting its violence? This acts of violence.
Yeah, but that really got me earlier this morning. I'm just like, okay, this is what we're discussing.
This is how we start, huh?
This is how we start. Let's just jump into it.
This is how we start with Saturday morning. And maybe it probably should have aired like maybe at 10 or something, but it kind of aired whenever. Sometimes I just forget when these things are, and I just kind of slot them in. And I think hopefully like we gave you guys some like perspective. I think the idea that I'm always trying to tell people is that you are capable a lot more than you think. And if you're spending your time really binge watching, hours of Netflix or whatever other medium that you're into, really consider a better use for your time, because those episodes are not really going nowhere. I'll be honest with you. Like there's season 2 of Lock and Key just dropped. There's another movie just dropped. There's just so much content going on all the time. I'm like, I can only watch even half of the show, half of that episode, and I'll come back later. Like, it's not gonna go anywhere. You don't have to cram your face with all the food in the world and just call it consumption. I know, that's just not what it is.
Good though, because last season was pretty good.
you
last season was pretty good. But yeah, I absolutely do agree, because I was talking to my best friend about it. Is I'm intentionally consuming things in terms of, if I'm looking on Netflix or Hulu, I know what I'm looking for in the shows, but I don't know if it wasn't for IG and other social media, I really don't know what's going on in the culture. Right, like new music. I want to be, up to date.
You don't want to be up to date. The music crap right now, so let it go. No.
From time to time I follow my favorite artists, but I don't know really about the new artists unless, you know, when Insecure come out, Issa Rae does a really good job of promoting underground artists, and I love the music. But aside from that, like I feel as though I'm being intentional with consuming stuff. So if I want to watch a certain show, like Wu-Tang on Hulu, like any new season that I'm missing out on, I go watch it. But all these shows and all these things, it's overwhelming. I just don't want to just keep strolling and keep looking for options, right? And plus, you know, I'm in my new course trying to get my certificate, so it's a lot. It's just I can't.
Yeah,
No
I'm
one will ask
overwhelmed
me.
with that. I'll agree with that. I'm overwhelmed with content. I'm one of those people, like, if you give me too much, I just completely tune out. I just go do something else because there's just too much stuff to pick from. And because of that, I'm like looking at you like, I just can't do this. I can't do this relationship that we have here where every week you drop like a whole brand new suite of content for me. I just can't do it because you'd have to, like, really, as you said, imagine you being a high school person where we used to keep up with everything back in high school,
Right.
or try to. It's a lot to keep up with nowadays. It's hours of content where your friend's going to be asking you questions, pop quizzing you about something that happened in this show, but there's like 10 shows that you haven't watched. It's a whole lot. And while you're trying to grow and change and understand who you are. So,
but it's a balance, because I'm so happy that not only are we part of the podcast community, but I binge podcasts too, but it's not every day. But the things that I do like to listen to, like the Friend Zone, or of course I'll just listen to the Money Guy shows, catching up on their content as well.
Money Guys always fire at some point. I'm just
There are
saying. I just
there we have to there'll be another episode touching on the
it's just
new
fire.
proposal. Yeah, but they're always fire. But I love listening to those things because they put me in the loop. They always put me on things that I wasn't really aware of, because when you get in this we could call it matrix or rat race, right? Of going to work, commuting, you know, you try and do your best at work, right? Sustaining relationships, coming back, working out, being an adult, all that good stuff. A lot of things get just out of the loop. You know, you just don't think about, because the level of importance it plays is really minimal for me. For me, it plays because the next week someone's talking about something else or something go viral. Like, I just cannot keep up. And when someone asks me, I could just tell them straight up, I don't care. Or, okay, cool. And I just keep it pushing forward, because as we consuming and staying stagnant on these issues or this new viral video, whatever it may be, yes, it's entertaining, but how long does it take for us to be entertained? It just takes,
Yeah.
you know,
And the
so
next thing,
right? And I'm realizing that, and I'm saying is that, you know, consume what you want to consume, but be very intentional what you're consuming, because a lot of time we're wasting time not doing anything, just consuming. So it plays a good point about a lot of things that's going to be transpiring in the next few years, and what to say of taking stock of your life. How is that going to look like?
Yeah, something I saw recently. Well, I was listening to this. I guess her name is Dorothy Brown's "The Whiteness of Wealth." She was on the panel, so I was listening to that. So, like you said, just like you, I'm following some of the financial content. I'm getting some information from the minority mindset, dropping some, great
Yeah.
info as well. So it's all these little things, and that's really adding something to the way I think and the way I kind of process the world. Because, like you said, a lot of the most important things just fall under the radar in comparison to what the culture brings all the way to the forefront. One of those things that happened this week was the AKAs were mad at the Insecure's last episode because they used the shield on one of the characters, I guess, outfits or something. I
Yeah.
think that's what it was. I don't even know what it is, but it
Yeah.
became this big thing, and I'm pretty sure there's hours. When I mean Black people has consumed hours of this conversation that would amount to nothingness. It would never do anything for you. It won't pay your bills. It won't bring in you more income. Well, I guess for those people that are creating the content, maybe your Breakfast Club, getting more income, getting more likes and views. For those people, but for everybody else that's part of the zeitgeist, you ain't getting nothing from it. And all I have to say about that, it might be toxic. I'm like, if you ain't pay your dues, why do you have a comment about this? like
And
if
they're
you
not
were
true
really about,
fans.
huh?
I don't think they're true fans, because this is the last season of Insecure. If you are a really true fan, they've been exhibiting the sorority and the Greek organization colors throughout the entire series. So if you're seeing the pink and green, this is something they've been saying.
They also said specifically, she said soar. And that's what really sparks an anger amongst them.
People, it's acting. She's
it's not like she was doing drugs. It was like for the things that we should contest, right? The things that we should be completely vehemently against, we let it ride. The most innocuous, and that's the word, innocuous, the most pointless, petty, particularly small, minute thing that has nothing to do, is not even hurtful. Burn that shit to hell. It makes no sense. Rappers out here talking about killing somebody else. They're like, cool, it's the vibe. Like, this is the vibe. Like, it's like straight up. Like, there's a rapper recently, I think he's the one that was in and that was because I was driving somewhere to DC and I was listening. It's like there's a rapper that was with Cardi B on her song. And he is a Hispanic rapper out of DR. So he had a new music video track out. He's like the pit bull of DR. So his music video had 2 Black women on leashes. And, it obviously got a lot of backlash because why would you do that? I think he was talking about dogs or something too. Like, probably the B word association, whatever. And in his mind, and I guess his report back to the people says, well, we took it down because we heard the comments, the statements. We understand that that's not what we intended. We just wanted to show the proxy between. I'm like, and he kind of tried to say it, but in truth, he's just like, hey, women to him are dogs. Black women are dogs. Like, how do you even get past the point where you filmed it, right? The women had to do it. So I can't really, say that they're not, part of this game. The women did it. The guy ends up, filming this thing. The director films it. Everybody on set is cool with it.
Right.
It gets, passed through some kind of review for the whatever recording studio that they're with. It gets online. So everybody's part of this, but nobody wants to be truthful about the fact that, hey, you just see women as objects. That's what you see, and that's the problem. All of society is part of this. Why would you even do this? And I think that's more pressing than the AKA shield.
It's mismanaged. It's mismanaged anger, mismanaged frustration to a lot of issues that are just to a lot of things that doesn't make sense, like you were mentioning. So this upcoming Monday, the Supreme Court they will be doing their open arguments, or just doing their arguments in terms of Roe versus Wade. So if we get to that point, it being overturned, 26 states in the United States of America would no longer have that law that protect women, or just have a choice if you want to proceed in doing a termination or, your abortion right, just being a U.S. Or just being a woman in general in the U.S. That is very pressing, extremely pressing. Yet we sensationalize women like Cardi B. Don't get me wrong, I like her music, but who she is and what she has contribute to the culture is saying that before she was a rapper, she used to drug men and rob them. No one talk about this, right? There's
ignored.
But we
straight up confessions, like straight up, like I did this.
Right. And I want people to understand, it's like, I'm not judging and I'm not pressing, finger pointing at anyone. It's just to say that how we highlight pressing issues and ignore the others, right? The pressing issue of going into Supreme Court to argue about a law that will change every woman right in the United States. This is your nieces, this is your sister, this is your mother, this is every woman that you know, to say that potentially they may not have the right to keep a child with them or not. Like, this is something that will change the course of a lot of women's lives, but we don't talk about it. Why? We don't speak about these things, but we're pressing on who wore green and pink.
Who wore it best? Who wore it best? Who wore it best?
On Insecure. And this is the thing that frustrates me about the culture, and that's why I don't consume the things that others do, and I'm intentional what I consume, because this is what's going to be pressing us in the next generation to come, and we're going to see the drawback. We're seeing the drawback, actually.
I'm just going to close out this episode with a few things that I found interesting this week. And it has to do with the Biden administration, not particularly the Biden administration, but what's going on in politics now is being argued as to what do we need to pay for. I think the administration came in with a lot of promises. Either it was free community college, which would have been huge, especially for a lot of minority communities. That's a huge deal. That's off the table. Part of the deal anymore is gone. On top of that, there was a second piece that was paid family leave that started for like 12 weeks of paid family leave. That was somewhat reduced to 4 weeks. So I'm like, oh shoot, we reduced it to 4, and then now it's off the table completely.
It's off the table completely. And Medicare is off the table. Medicare expansion is off the table.
Yeah,
Medicare,
the expanded, yeah.
Right. Since I work in healthcare, I try to keep tabs on all these new things that's coming up. Medicare expansion is off the table, and for Medicare to even negotiate drugs is off the table. What's his name? Not Biden. What's the man name?
I know what you're talking about. I see his face or something. He's like one of those leaders.
I can't even think about it.
Mitt Romney?
Not Mitt Romney.
Mitch McConnell? Like, damn, all these names. I think I know what you're talking about. He got slick back hair, whatnot, but
he had the meme that with the mittens at the president.
Oh, okay. You talk about Bernie, my boy Bernie.
Well, I couldn't even think about Mitt Romney.
Yeah,
Sanders, because he's the one that pushed for Medicare for elderly, right? So it's asinine, man. So his proposal the last few years, and it actually went through some form of it, where he pushed for Medicare dental and vision to be covered under the Medicare services. So he wanted to expand it on not only vision and dental, but also drugs, so that Medicare applicants, or just Medicare in general, they can negotiate drugs for Medicare applicants. They took that off the table. They're like, we're not doing that. So there's so much that's been just like chopped off.
I thought I was the one wrapping this up, but you came in there, you just cut me through with the Medicare stuff. And
I keep up with that because that's going to impact me. That's going to impact me.
It's going to impact all of us. Yeah, I think
it's going to impact a lot of people.
I'm going to give you guys this. The reason why a lot of those promises are off the table, and they've always been campaign promises, right? So one thing we probably should do as a society, let's scale back on what these promises, let's just follow what the person's, doing. And not, I think we force them in a position where they have to promise crazy stuff in order to get the vote. And because they do that, they come up short, and then we get mad about what they, them not fulfilling those promises. In truth, a lot of this is very expensive. That's what they found out, and while they're doing their budgets, and they're kind of constricted a little bit, they're realizing all these promises are very, very expensive. So you can't put everything on the table like that. You got to make some broad brushes. You got to make sure that some things get vetted through. But in truth, how does this impact you, especially if you're, minority? Black, brown, whatnot. I'm letting you know right now, majority of minorities, and I just did a whole entire write-up about retirement, especially in the Black community. We rely almost exclusively on Social Security and Medicare.
Yeah.
That's around like 80%, if not 90% of Black households and brown households will rely on exclusively on Social Security and Medicare. So when these things don't go through, it's basically a dagger again into how prices are going up for everything and how savings are going down. People are not investing enough. They don't know what the hell they're doing, or they're not actually contributing, or they're spending more on a new home. They're buying new cars. They're doing renovations. They don't have the money to retire. And when ultimately that happens, majority of that falls back into Gen Xers. It falls back into millennials, and it falls back to digitals, because our parents are the ones are not in the position to retire. They're basically fundamentally retiring broke. If they are retiring broke, money is going to run out. And when money runs out, who do they need to support them? It comes down to you. So how does this all turn back around to you? Those important information that's in the news, You might want to pay attention. You might want to advocate. Maybe you might want to position yourself in a better financial plan, and understand your goals, aspirations, all that good stuff. Because at the end of the day, it's going to cost you in your own bank account. You are part of what is called the sandwich generation, in which the president just spoke about it recently as well. It's just sometimes people make the terms and eventually we catch up to understanding what it is. That means our parents are aging. We got to support them. We're aging. We got to support ourselves. And then we having kids that we have to also support. That is a sandwich. You have to pay for all three generations based off whatever, one or two incomes that you have. So if you're not planning ahead and you think money is tight now, give it 5 years. And that's where I land. I don't know if you want to wrap up with your wrap up.
No, I said what I had.
You said what you said. What you said.
I said what I said. Because once I start talking, it's just gonna keep going. So we're gonna end it there.
With that being said, thanks again for listening to us. I know we kind of start off one way, but we eventually kind of turn it all the way around. We turned it all the way around, but hopefully we give you something to think about, something to process. And please be sure to share, subscribe, and tell your friends about this podcast. I think we're going to be doing a lot of great things, especially bringing in different guests, different conversations, and really having a sense of joy about finances, because it's not just about this doom and gloom, debt, whatever. It's about telling you what you need to do and also contextualizing it in the stories. So as one of your co-hosts, Lawrence Delva-Gonzalez, aka the Neighborhood Finance, didn't land that one, aka the Neighborhood Finance guy, along with Alainta Alcin, and hopefully the next episode, lovely Motherless, we're actually just very happy and thankful because you are also clicking and sharing to other people, and we got on the Plutus Award thing. So now everybody knows that Alainta got a new bae. How do they feel about it? Write a review, right? Let us know. She trash, let us know. Not toxic at all.
Thank you guys for tuning in. You can just catch me on the YouTube streets, also on Instagram at it's Alainta, ATS_Alainta, ALAINTA. Continue subscribing, continue downloading, sharing, leaving reviews, all that good stuff. Once again, we're TFG, and we're out.
Thank you for listening to the Financial Griot podcast, powered by the Wealth Builders Collective.